we're in a very blue district. So everyone thinks, oh, we have a Democrat in office. It's a blue district. They must be a good Democrat. And I'm running against Adam Smith, who is well known for being deeply entrenched with the military industrial complex. And the problem is he's not out front in any major issue. He's not out front on climate change. He's not out front on healthcare, on immigration, on anything that matters and is immediately necessary. He's not out front on any of it. And he waits for somebody else to put forward bills. He waits for somebody else to put forward all of these different measures that they can in order to combat things like climate change, combat things like income inequality. And then he jumps on and he co-sponsors and then tries to take credit for someone else's work. So he doesn't really do anything, but then he tries to take credit because someone else did something. And the fact of the matter is, I show people all the time, Adam is the largest recipient of PAC money of all the House Democrats from our state. He receives the most. He is one of the top recipients of all the Democrats in the House right now. He receives some of the most from Puget Sound Energy, which is a fossil fuel company in the state of Washington. He also receives hundreds of thousands of dollars from Raytheon, from Northrop Grumman. He receives it from oh my gosh, what's the other company? Google. I can't remember the technical term, but he gets it from Google, gets his money from Humana Healthcare. And weirdly, he never talks about ending wars. He never talks about cutting the private spending coming out of the military budget. He never talks about eliminating those private military contracts. He never says anything about climate change except to tell me, oh, the thing that'll solve climate change is a carbon tax. And I'm like, actually, there's a lot more, but he won't sign on to those 3 pieces of legislation because he's paid a lot of money by fossil fuel industries to do it. And he won't get on board with single payer. He's signed on to Medicare for All. He signed the Summer for Progress, and he's a founding member of the Medicare for All caucus. But every time he's in front of a camera, he talks about multi-payer systems like they have in France and Germany. And I have to counter and get into the weeds and be like, actually, the way that they have the influence of corporate money in their system makes it a viable system. But the way our system is set up, it won't. What it will wind up doing, because what we have now is a multi-payer system, and what this system he proposes will end up doing is it will use government money to force people to pay their money to private insurance companies. That's all it will do. And I'm the only one on the platform that talks about single payer. So he voted for the Iraq War. He voted for the Patriot Act. He actually voted to extend it 3 times. He has continuously voted in favor of this overbloated military budget. He's never put forward any meaningful legislation for immigration reform. He's never put anything forward that means anything for fighting against climate change. He does less than the bare minimum and then jumps on somebody else's bill and says, I co-sponsored that. And then hopes no one will wonder what that means. And except I did. And I realized all it is you send an intern with a memo to the sponsor's office and they add your signature. But he has 1,000 excuses as to why he's not sponsored onto anything else. He also was in favor of the 2016 bill to continue selling cluster bombs to the Saudi Arabian government. He voted yes. And that vote was protested and hammered against him over and over again. And what it resulted in buses and buses of dead Yemeni children and Yemeni famine and everything we knew it was going to end up in. And now he's saying he misinterpreted the bill and he misremembered the bill. After 22 years, you don't get to misremember bills and you don't get to misinterpret bills.
Right.